The Strait of Hormuz is only 21 nautical miles wide at its narrowest point. 1/5 of the world's entire oil supply moves through it every single day. And if the United States ever ordered a full military blockade on top of an existing Iranian closure, what happens next would be the most complex, high-stakes naval operation since World War II. This is not a clean, swift victory. This is a grinding, layered battle fought on the surface, beneath the waves, and in the air simultaneously. So how does the U.S. even begin to establish control? The answer lies in Phase 1, the picket line. The U.S. Navy would not send its prized aircraft carriers into a 21 nautical mile channel surrounded by Iranian missile batteries on both sides. Those ships are too valuable and far too exposed. Instead, the Navy deploys a wolf pack of 4 to 6 Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers positioned in a layered patrol box. One destroyer watches the northern approach, hugging the Iranian coastline. One covers the deep central channel. A third sits back as a rapid response reserve. Together, their radar systems create an invisible dome across the entire strait. Nothing flies, nothing sails, and nothing launches from shore without being detected within seconds. And beneath the surface, a Virginia-class attack submarine quietly patrols at 400 feet, armed with Mark 48 heavyweight torpedoes capable of splitting a surface ship clean in half. Iran's Kilo-class submarines never see her coming. But here is where the real danger hides, and Hollywood always gets this wrong. The greatest threat to a blockade is not incoming missiles, it is sea mines. Cheap, patient, and absolutely lethal. Iran has pre-positioned contact mines and influence mines throughout the strait, and many have already drifted into the territorial waters of neighboring Arab states. So how does the U.S. clear them? The answer is Phase 2, the robotic minesweepers. The Independence-class littoral combat ship moves in, but not to fight directly. It operates as a robotic mothership, launching unmanned systems while staying safely outside the minefield. First, the Common Unmanned Surface Vehicle, a 39-foot drone boat, crawls across the water's surface, towing sonar equipment, scanning the seafloor below. At the same time, an MH-60 Seahawk helicopter launches from the LCS flight deck, scanning the same patch of water from 100 feet above for floating threats. And when the mines go deep, the Navy deploys the Knifefish, an unmanned underwater vehicle that dives directly into the danger zone, detecting and identifying buried mines in even heavily cluttered environments, before a separate unmanned influence sweep system drags magnetic and acoustic decoys through the water, tricking bottom mines into detonating harmlessly. If you want to understand how global power really moves, not through headlines, but through choke points, economics, and military strategy, subscribe to Backdoor Economics right now. Hit that button before this video ends. Now, Iran does not simply sit and watch. Phase 3 begins the moment the IRGC unleashes its Mosquito fleet. 24 or more fast attack craft blasting out of Bandar Abbas harbor at speeds of 50 to 70 knots, armed with rocket-propelled grenades, heavy machine guns, and C-802 anti-ship missiles, swarming a single vessel from 360 degrees simultaneously. The swarm is designed to overwhelm. It is designed to blind the bridge and kill the engines. And hidden within the chaos are unmanned suicide boats, remote-controlled drone vessels packed with explosives steered directly into a ship's hull to blow a hole at the waterline. To counter this, the U.S. calls in the AH-64E Apache Guardian helicopter, operating right at sea level off the decks of Navy amphibious assault ships. The Apache ripple fires AGM-114 Hellfire Romeo laser-guided missiles in rapid sequence, chasing down fast attack boats at blistering speed. Its M230 30mm chain gun tears through lightly armored craft with precision, backed by salvos of 70mm Hydra rockets against clustered swarm formations. But the ultimate answer is not defense. It never is. The real countermeasure is offense. U.S. surveillance drones monitor the Iranian coastline in real time, 24 hours a day. The moment a mobile missile launcher rolls out of a mountain bunker on Keshem Island, the IRGC's primary military hub buried inside a labyrinth of underground fortifications, or mine-laying boats are spotted loading at port near Larak Island, Allied fighter jets and ship-launched Tomahawk cruise missiles destroy them before a single shot is ever fired. And for the deeply buried underground missile batteries that no conventional weapon can reach, the U.S. deploys the GBU-72, a 5,000-pound precision-guided bunker buster capable of punching through 160 feet of earth or 20 feet of reinforced concrete before detonating and completely collapsing the structure from the inside. Controlling the Strait of Hormuz is not about winning a single battle. It is about maintaining dominance across the surface, beneath the waves, in the air, and deep underground, all at the same time, every second, against an enemy that has spent decades preparing for exactly this fight. The U.S. can do it, but it will not be easy, and it will not be cheap. This is Backdoor Economics, where we break down the strategies, systems, and power structures that actually run the world. If this video gave you a deeper understanding of how modern military and economic power really operates, subscribe now and share this with someone who needs to see it. We'll see you in the next one.